right. Thank you so much for making time for me today. Oh my goodness, this is amazing to see all of you wonderful smiling faces here. You guys, you got to know that the last 2 weeks have been life-changing for me. Getting this book out there, my spirit guides can finally bugger off because they've been nagging at me for like years. Patsy knows she wrote a book, so yeah, they've been after me for years to get this done, so they can kind of back off now that it's finally out there. Within 7 hours, you guys made it a number one bestseller on Amazon. And then within 24 hours, it went international bestseller in three categories. Like, seriously, pinch me, guys. This is just, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm trying to throw it back at you guys to say, wow, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all I wanted was that it would get into the hands of the people who needed it most. And you guys made that happen. It means the world to me that you showed up today because it means you're serious about the work. And I hope that you've downloaded your supportive documents and whatnot that I put on the website. You have to go into the book on page 8 if you got a paperback. I'm not sure where it is on an ebook, but on the paperback, if you haven't already gone there, there is a website address that you go into. And it's important that you do that because then you are going to get on the mailing list because I plan on doing these a few more times. If you guys express an interest and you want to learn more and hang out and do some stuff like this, then that's how you're going to know that this is what's going on. So make sure that you do get to that link within the book. So I'd love it if you guys would maybe put in the chat there, where are you from? I'd love to see where you guys are all from. Um, is it only me that can hear you? Okay. I think we're past that. So let me know where you are. Grass Valley, California. Cool. I hope it's warm there because it's not here. There's my home peeps, Donna and Donna Jones and Tampa Bay. Jody's in Tampa Bay and Barbara's in Nova Scotia. Mary Kate's Orlando, Kelowna, Whitefish, Montana. It's 9 degrees. Yeah, well, it's sad. Karen's in Quebec. Wow, this is awesome. Good stuff. All right, well, I am broadcasting from a little place called East Dijor, Nova Scotia. Hey, Cassie from Philadelphia, and Gail's from Halifax. Awesome. Yeah, we're in a little fishing village outside of Halifax. And one of the things that this whole book launch thing has done for me is it kind of gave me the opportunity to take an I don't give a shit pill. I really, I was kind of hiding behind what I do because smaller communities don't always accept this kind of stuff. And this is the first time I have ever put anything business related on my personal page on Facebook. And the response has just been overwhelming. It really has been overwhelming. And Spirit's up there going, that's fun when she gets it. So thank you very much for that. Okay, let's talk about some housekeeping stuff. I have my notes. All right. So cameras are optional. If you want to turn them on, turn them off. I don't care. It's whatever makes you happy. Um, Attendees, you will not be able to unmute, but I will unmute you. So do you all know where the hands up button is if you want to ask a question later on? Okay, perfect. Down at the bottom there. Perfect. Excellent. I think that's under, hmm, I'm not sure. I've never used it, but you guys do. It's all good. I'm not going to worry about stuff like that. So it's a digital hand, right? So when we get to a point where we're going to be asking questions, you can just raise your digital hand and I'll get to you guys as best as I can. The chat's going to be open all the way through. So when we do get to a point where we're talking to each other and whatnot, I'd really appreciate if you kind of give some thought to your question, keep it short, and so we can get to as many people as we can, because that's the goal. And be patient with me because I'm a one-woman show today. So I'm manning the chat and I'm manning all you guys and all that good stuff. All right. So first of all, anybody want to share any aha moments that you might have had as a result of reading the book and maybe looking at your soul signature? Maybe you knew that you were like a 5 life path number, but all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I'm not just a 5. Maybe I'm a 23-5, or I'm a, whatever, 41-5. Anybody have any aha moments they want to share? The depth possibly that came with doing the soul signature side of it? Just raise your hand if you want to say anything. Okay. Nobody had any aha moments. Come on. Somebody has to have an aha moment. No? Okay, cool. Um, oh, Cassie does. Just a second, Cassie. I'm just gonna unmute you there. Where did you go?
I'm here.
There you are. Oh,
Okay.
how many
So
do you have, Cassie?
it just it just put in more confusion to my numbers.
It is? Okay.
It's like just another, oh my God, now I got to think this way. And I am in the 16-7 where my life, some crazy shit has happened to me. And I just wonder if I'm going to live through it all
You're in good
between
company.
health issues and uh people stealing money, betrayals.
Hmm.
It just like keeps on coming.
Okay. Okay. So, are you comfortable sharing your date of birth so I can look at it for you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What's your date of birth?
March
Hmm.
10th,
Okay. What year?
1956.
Okay. It's 10,
And I
15.
did want to get my shit together by the age of 70. But now I'm thinking it might take a little bit longer. As
Okay.
you can see, I didn't even take a shower today. I just decided to stay in.
Well, there you go. That's cool.
I said, I just don't care.
So, I'm not sure where you got your 16-7 from.
From the transits, double H's. I'm not a 67
Oh,
as
I'm sorry. Okay, I
um,
misunderstood you. Okay. Okay,
no,
so we're
my
not talking
life
about okay, I got
life
you.
path is not a 16-7. It's a
Right.
plain old seven.
Well,
Your
it's
calculations, it is 25-7.
mhm. Okay.
20,
Okay, so there's different ways, as you know from reading the book, there are different ways to do the calculations, right? So you can add the numbers, excuse me, straight across. So 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 9 is 14, 5 is 21, and no, I've got my math wrong already. 1 is 9, 10, 1 is 10, 15, 21, 22, 25, comes up to 25, right? And 2 and 5 equals 7. You could be a 25, 7, okay? When we add
yes,
the numbers straight across. If we
yes,
break everything down independently, you come up as a straight up 7 with no
yeah,
sublessons. Okay. Now, my theory is that there are times when you might feel more like a 25-7. There are times when you're going to feel just like a 7. Okay. With no sublessons or anything in there, just a 7. And the fact is, 2 and 5 go into 7. So, my feeling is that there are different times when these numbers will be activated. Okay. So, what you're kind of tapping into, if I understand correctly, is you're tapping it more into the cycles that you're experiencing right now. And I totally get that because I too am in a 16-7 essence that's going on in my chart right now. I'm in a one personal year with a 16-7 essence. Started out really, really rough, had some really good stuff in the middle. The ending, my country, Jamaica, got completely annihilated, so that wasn't so great. So that's the crash and the burn. So how do we rise above that? So what you're going through is very temporary. What you're going through is a cycle. It doesn't define who you are, but you're feeling it more because you are a 7. Anyway, we slice or dice your life path number, you're a 7. Okay. So when you go into cycles of 7, you get in your head and you're thinking and you're thinking and you're thinking, right? And it's hard for you to tap into your heart. It's hard for you to feel your way into solutions or to see things differently. So the 16-7 is designed to kind of peel back the layers that aren't serving you well anymore. I mean, I've had some breakdowns in friendships and whatnot this year that have been very painful, but they had to happen in order to expose the new me moving forward, right? So it's and I remember you did email me with the transits, and I think it was 2028 when it's done. Is that what you
uh,
told me?
it's going to be done with a complete soul lesson in a 7 year, for the whole year. That's another thing I get. There's two ways of calculating the transit starting as soon as you're born,
Hmm.
which I think decodes does. And then there's another way of thinking that it starts at age one. When
Hmm.
you reach 1 year old, you don't
Hmm.
even. So the one, I think you go by decodes
Not
right off the
always, not,
bat.
not entirely, but I do believe that our personal year begins on January 1st. I do believe that, yeah, and we're born into whatever our, mm, whenever we're born into a personal year, which is the same as our life path number,
Yeah, it's a 7 year.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and we
Like your
start from there and then
initials,
we
you
keep,
start counting like Kathleen is my real name,
mhm,
McKay.
right,
And the last name starts with an A, so there's a K and an A.
right. So I'm
Right
gonna
from
kind
birth.
of, okay.
Maybe we should not even get into that because if you're not into numerology, you might not even go there.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't covered in the book, and I'm trying to keep kind of to what's in the book
Yeah.
right now. So you've got some very, very valid questions for sure, but trying to keep this kind of in line with
So
what's in the book.
yeah, it's a few more years. I'm gonna be 16/7.
Yeah, okay. Okay. But that's all right. It's just a cycle. And
But
how
it's
you
just going
choose
to
to
end
respond.
with the explosion. Sometimes the explosion starts in the beginning
Yep.
and you go through shit, 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 and then you're done with it. But
Yeah.
mine is shit every year. And then, God, what is the big caboose that's going to
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something and I'm going to move on, Cassie, from this just because it's
Yeah.
not covered in the book, but just for your purposes, I'm going to share with you that anytime I ever went through, and for those of you who are not familiar with essences, what Cassie is talking about is that we each have a personal year that begins January 1st, goes until the end of December. And each one of those years from 1 to 9 is like a black and white template. Each one is the same for you as it is for me. It's an influence, right? It's a theme, if you will. So we're going to call those black and white templates. Now, if Cassie and I were in a personal year of 6 at the same time, I'm going to say, Cassie, you and I are going to have a very similar experience this year because a 6 is a 6 is a 6. However, you're going to go through it differently because your birth name is different than mine, and that creates the essence. So the essence that Cassie is referring to is a 16/7 essence. What do we know about 16/7? It has a karmic debt influence, right? So it's a kind of a pie in your face kind of an essence. And when I see it on somebody's chart, to me it's a bit of a red flag that I'm looking at. It's like, holy crap, this is big. I got to pay attention to this. I have to make sure that this person understands what's going on. And I affectionately call it the crash, the burn, and the learn. Okay. I can say that because I am a 16/7, 365 days of the year. That's my life path number. Anyway, um, that being said, anytime I have ever gone through a 16/7 essence, it has been difficult. There has been momentous occasions, huge, huge things that have happened to me, really, really difficult stuff. And yet, I guess with my maturity, learning numerology, doing it for 22 years, all that, I'm starting to look at it a little differently because although my year started out really hard with my stepson passing away suddenly and our country being blown up with the Hurricane Melissa, I'm not looking at it as tragedy. I'm looking at it as, okay, how do I rise above this? How does this make me different? And in some of the newsletters I sent out recently, I talked about that, and how that Jamaica is really not my vibe, I'm not super comfortable there. And it's not because I don't feel safe, it's because it's just a vibration that doesn't really make me comfortable. However, seeing the resilience of the people, seeing them rise above it, seeing them to rebuilding and coming together and whatnot, it makes me proud now to be Jamaican. So I had to go through this for me to level up. Okay. So that's as much as I really want to talk about that. But I just want you to know that Hans D. Coase and Matthew Oliver Goodwin describe the 16/7 as a complete nightmare. It doesn't have to be. It's how you choose to respond to it. Okay. Make sense?
Oh yeah, so that's what I'm trying to rise above it, but
Yeah,
it
I know
is
you are. Yeah,
difficult.
you're doing a great job. It's not easy. All right. Thanks, Cassie. Okay. So, anybody else want to speak to that or speak to anything any aha moment you had, or maybe you're kind of struggling with something? We're good. Okay. All right. Um, Anybody kind of surprised the difference between doing the addition straight across or doing it where you break it down independently? Did you get some kind of, wow, that's different? Hadn't thought about that before. So, one of the reasons I wrote the book the way that I did was because of that moment. And some of you heard me talk about it, that when I learned numerology and I added the numbers straight across, I came up as a 34/7. And I understood I was a seven. That was absolutely assured. I knew that. But the three and the four, those sub lessons going into it, that did not make sense to me. Absolutely did not make sense to me. The three says you got to learn how to communicate, have a good sense of humor, be a good writer, and all these. I kind of thought I had that, right? And then the four came in, and it was like stability process and one step after the other and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I got that. I kind of got that. So I accepted I was a seven, but the three and the four always kind of nagged at me until I learned the methodology from Matthew Oliver Goodwin when we're breaking our pieces down independently. And I came up as a 16/7. And that was a life path number, soul signature number, that I could sink my teeth into because I understood the lessons related to the one and the six. And I also understood there was a karmic debt that I was paying back for. So for years, I came across saying, this is the only way to do it, right? This is it. This is the only way to do it because I thought I found the Holy Grail. I thought this is phenomenal. But where in fact I realized that no, it's not. There's more than one way to do this. And there are other methods I didn't cover in the book. I only covered two. But there are other methods to tap into who you are. For me, Matthew's method, breaking it down independently, spoke more to me. But then I started to realize that, when you start looking at numbers, three and four go into seven, one and six go into seven. So sometimes I'm a 34/7, sometimes I'm a 16/7. But I do believe that we do settle in as we get older. I do believe we start settling in to one or the other. Not to say that you're not going to get the influence of those other numbers. Sure, you will. But I do feel that we do kind of settle in as we go. Anybody want to say anything to that? Or you've experienced anything like that? No? Oh, Donna. Yeah, go ahead. Just a second here. Donna, where are you? I don't see you. Hang on. There you go, Donna.
Hi, Ann.
Hey.
So when I had my chart done by you, like many years ago,
Yep.
I was a 20/2.
Yeah.
And then I had a recent reading from you. Well, it was in January, yeah.
Yeah.
And with this new way of doing it, I'm a 38/11. So
Mm,
I'm still learning how to process all of this, Anne. And is it possible that you can feel sometimes a 20/2 and sometimes a 38/11 and uh,
absolutely. That's a great point, Donna. And you are a case in point because we've known each other for a very long time. And so when I was doing numerology years ago, again, I took the method of Matthew Oliver Goodwin, which made you a 20/2, 202. You're always going to feel that way because I know you well, right? So the two and the zero and the two. The two is about patience, diplomacy, partnership, learning how to let things come to you rather than having to chase them all the time. But the big thing here is that zero that sits in there. And the zero says, I'm here to work on my intuitive gifts. And you've definitely done that. I mean, you can't be such an advanced reflexologist as you are and not be tapped into your intuitive gifts, right?
mhm, mhm,
You're really good with people. You've always been really good with people, even when you were selling Mary Kay and you kind of went the whole 9 yards with that. You know, and it wasn't easy for you. I know, I remember that. It wasn't really easy for you, but you did it. Like you really did it. And so there comes in that 38/11. The three says, I
mhm,
have to learn how to communicate a bit better without beating myself up every time I open my mouth, right? Or second guessing what I've said, right? That inner critic sits there with that number three. And then when you take it a little bit further, when you think about it, you were this Mary Kay director and you had teams all over the place. And you were using your words, using your voice, um, promoting the business opportunity. That's the eight, empowering women to step above, right? To do it, to do better for themselves. So that's the 38. Very different than what a 29 would have been. So the
mhm,
three is about the, pardon me, the eight is about the business. The three is about using your voice in business. The 11 is the spiritual messenger and finding unique and different ways to do it, right?
Okay, that's making sense now, more sense now, and that
Okay.
you explaining it that way.
Good, good.
Yeah.
So it's, and but there are going to be days when you feel like a 20/2 because 2 and 0 go into 2. And the 3811, the two ones, go back into 2. So yeah, the master numbers are really fun because you kind of have to dig a little bit deeper for it. But I think if you start playing with it a little bit more and you start thinking back and maybe journaling on who you've been and who you are now, you'll see it. You'll
Mhm.
definitely see it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So welcome. Welcome. Thanks for asking. Anybody else? Anybody want to explore your soul signature number? Might have some confusion around it somehow. Cassie. Just a second. Okay. Oh, you got to unmute there, Cassie. There you go.
Okay, so we were saying I'm a 25/7 and I'm a 7
Hmm?
in the other calculation. 7, I'm rocking it. 7, plain and simple. I feel good. Nothing bothers me. I'm not paranoid. I can go out and enjoy myself. Now that I'm in the essence that is karmic, paying back a debt, I'm more the 25/7.
Okay.
That's where I feel, and that's where I feel this shift. Like you, because I never thought about 25/7,
Right.
but because I'm not a 16/7, like you say you're like that all the time.
No, I didn't say that. I said that I felt that I matured into the 16/7 more so. I feel more in alignment with the 16/7 than I do with 34/7, but the 34/7 raises its head all the time, for sure.
Yeah,
It's
I
that
guess
karmic
I don't
debt
know
though
if
that
I'll ever mature because I'm gonna hit 70.
well, but
I thought I was
also
gonna be mature by now.
But also remember, Cassie, that we're only talking about the date of birth. We are not talking about the name on the birth certificate, which provides the talents and the gifts and the
Yes.
functions that you brought forward with you. We're only talking about the lessons. Okay. So you saying, well, I'm this, I'm all that, I'm killing and I'm rocking it out is the number 7. Well, chances are you've got a really strong expression number that's helping you to do that because that's why we
It's a
choose.
one. It's
There
a
you go.
one.
There you go. Right?
But
Okay.
I'm not feeling that now.
That's okay. It's temporary. Thanks.
Good.
Gail.
Hi. It's been a while, Anne.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Um, in doing just working with the birth date, I did it up this morning, and in my head, I was expecting it to come out as the life path number. I was getting it confused because I haven't looked at this in a little while.
Sure.
So it was really a good exercise for me because the stage I'm in right now, projects I'm working on, completely fit the
Ah,
number that I got to, which was
amazing.
a 10-1.
Yeah.
Um, and then I pulled out the last reading you had done for me and realized it's time to do another one.
You know where I am.
Yeah.
No
Anyways,
worries.
it was a really good exercise to do.
I'm
So
glad.
the 0 in the 10, I was thinking,
Mhm.
well, isn't that just one one? But the 0 is significant when I was
Yes.
going through the notes, right?
Yes, it is significant.
Yeah.
And a lot of numerologists don't even really talk about the 0, but I certainly do because I know that it's there. Whenever you see a 0, let's say it's 20/2 or 30/3, whatever, or 10/1, when that zero's in there, what it's doing is it's amplifying the numbers on either side of it. Okay, so in your case, 10/1, the two ones are being pushed to the forefront, more independence, more creativity, more leadership potential. But the difference is here, rather than being like a 19-1 hard-ass leader, you're somebody who's leading with gentle persuasion.
Hmm.
You're reading people and you're just guiding them rather than, it has to be this way. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And my book is arriving tomorrow apparently, so
Oh,
I can't
good.
wait to get at it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Anyways,
Excellent.
thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you. All right. Dawn, is that you, Donna Brooks? Confused about? Yeah. Okay. So let's unmute you for a second. Can you unmute for a sec? Okay. Not sure which way to lean. I'm either 20/2 or I'm not. Okay. So are you comfortable giving your date of birth?
Sure.
Yeah.
May 24, 1971.
1971. Okay. So if we add it all across, we come up as a 2911.
Mhm.
Okay. If we break it down separately, we got 6, 5, we got 1 minus 10, 17, 18, and that's 9, 9, 10, 15, that you come up as a 20/2. So that means
Right.
that you're both. Okay, at any given time, you're both. So there might be times when you're feeling more engaged with the 202, the two, learning patience, diplomacy, and partnership, balance, managing your sensitivities, right? Yeah, right. However, um, the 2911 is appropriate as well, because the 2 again is all the things I just mentioned, but the 9 brings in the empath.
Uh, yeah.
There you go, right? And so
Yeah.
I feel that, like, I've only known you a few years, but in the few years that I've known you, I feel like your empathy is growing more, right?
Oh
You're
God,
tapping in
no.
more. Well, no, but you're learning how to manage it. That's all part of it, right?
Yeah,
And
okay.
seeing it as your gift. Didn't you do the mediumship program?
No.
Oh, you didn't do that? Okay. Maybe you should.
Hey, I'm so overwhelmed with everything right now. It's a baby steps.
Well, see,
Baby
that's it,
steps.
right? The 9 can cause you to be overwhelmed because already as an 11, you can be tapped in and very, very sensitive. But the sensitivity is actually your superpower. It's your gift. But it's kind of like, being given a race car when all you've ever driven is a Volkswagen, you know. It's hard to manage it initially. So, this sensitivity, I think you're very sensitive to what's going on around the world, you know, the whole planet, the whole United States thing that's going on, and everything, you know, with the wars, all of it. The 9 is the humanitarian who feels everything.
Hmm.
So, but I do feel that there's been periods of time when you are, you know, I don't want to say just a 20/2, but that the 2 and the 0 have been more ignited, okay, than the 29 has. But you're going to vacillate between. So what I want you to do is study both. So there's videos on YouTube of 2911. If I didn't already share them with you, they are in there. So
Okay.
you can check that out. Yeah. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good. Thanks for
Thank
asking.
you.
Deb Hall, I have always been more comfortable reducing the numbers before totaling, which makes me 22/4. If I add it straight across, I'm a 31/4. I have never considered this option until this minute. Wow, cool. Do you want to talk about that? Deb, where are you? There you are. I'm going to ask you on mute if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can just message in there.
Yeah, I mean, we've in all of our times, we've never ever looked at it that way. So,
Yeah,
um, I just never have. So I have truly given it no thought. Oh,
right.
so I'm completely comfortable that do you think I need to look at the 31/4? Like
Well, I think that you need to consider that the 3 and the 1 go into 4, as do the double twos. Right? So as
mm,
long as I've known you, you've always felt to me as a 22/4, because that's the master builder. You know, you've got extreme work ethic. You always put your heart and soul into everything. You're always thinking about everybody else. How can you support everybody else? That's just who you are, right? So, like, to me, you've always felt like a 22/4, but that doesn't mean to say that there haven't been times in your life where the 3 and the 1 haven't been activated, right? So the 3 is you second guessing what you're saying. Oh my God, should I
uh,
have said that? Should I not?
uh,
You know what I'm saying. Okay. So we don't
yeah.
have to go there, but you know what I'm saying. Should I have done that? And then the 1 is you stepping into feeling like more of a leader, using your insane creativity, which you are insanely creative. But the 22/4, the difference between a 22/4 and say a 31/4 is the 22/4 being a master number, it's going to feel like it's going to feel like you have a bigger mission. It's almost like you're going to say, oh, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something much bigger than what I'm currently doing, but I don't quite know what that is, but I'm always looking for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I never have felt that way. But
Okay.
um I mean I feel like the missions that I've accomplished would not be considered a bigger mission by anyone else. But for me, when they've happened, they've been big missions in my life. So
Right.
I feel like I'm accomplishing, at this point,
Hmm.
I'm accomplishing what I need to. Like
Right.
I'm accomplishing the right missions, right? So
Right.
I don't feel like I'm not doing enough. Yeah.
Well, if you look at, I printed them off just to make things a little easier, but the sublesson definitions, if in fact you're working at the vibration of a 31-4, the three says, the three is learning how to be a bit more joyful, optimistic, expressive, creative, humorous, artistic, imaginative, social, playful, and I can't say it, communicative. That one,
Hmm.
right?
I don't feel like I have issues with that, but
Right, right. That's me,
yeah,
that's just like me in the 34-7. I don't feel like I have issues with that either,
right,
right?
right.
The one, of course, is the path of self-reliance and bold new beginnings, and you've gone through that.
I
Being
have.
right, being more independent, creative, confident, authentic, original, artistic, ambitious, driven. You're all of those things. So I do
Right.
feel that you need to study the three and the one because
Okay.
they are going to pop their heads in every now and again.
I'm gonna always think of myself, I think, as a 22-4. Like I say,
Cool.
maybe because I invested so much time
Yeah.
studying that.
Yeah.
That's
And
what
because
works.
fours are black and white. It's
Yeah,
just kind of,
well,
it is
yeah,
what it
yeah.
is.
And I've
That's
already
okay.
got the 11 in there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Um, am I saying it right, Jody? I am? Okay, good.
You are saying it right. Thank you.
No problem. It's
Um,
important that I get it right. How can I help?
so I've had an interesting thing. I have been a 27-9, and I feel like that's a lot of who I am. But
Okay.
recently, after a really challenging health issue, I stepped into a 1-8
Okay.
with incredible power, tremendous support from spirit, and
Wow.
also being kind of not kind of, I am a tarot master as well. I'm always looking at the energy of the cards and their inner action, obviously, with numerology.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really curious if something like that can typically happen in numerology, where you can have a shift. Like I know astrology, that can happen and it shows in your chart and all this, but I was like, I didn't know if that was the same in numerology.
That's a really great question. I haven't really thought about that before, but like astrology, where we got the planets and stuff all moving around, and I know nothing about astrology, but I do know there's planets moving around up there. The same kind of thing is happening in your chart too, right? Because we're observing cycles, we're observing personal years, we're
Hmm.
observing personal months and days, and we're looking at the essences, all that kind of thing. So, how can I break this down? You're talking about a shift. Okay, so um, I can just use my example, I guess. I'm in a one personal year this year, and I have a 16-7 essence that started on my birthday. The essence prior to that was a 14-5 essence, which brings in a lot of confusion. So, how is this different? Well, the one personal year says I got to start something new, but the 14-5 was saying up until March was saying, yeah, but you don't know what that is. You're really confused, right? But then when the essence came in of 16-7, it meant that I had to kind of rebuild. I had to peel back the layers. I had to become more authentic. I had to crash and burn, if you will, dust myself off like the rising of the phoenix and carry on. And I certainly have done that this year. So there are different pieces to your chart that will contribute to you feeling a little differently and maybe connected more to the 27-9. For example, when you're in a seven personal year, you're going to feel the 27-9 more than if you
Sure.
were in uh, an eight personal year. Because obviously, in the eight personal year, you're going to feel the 18-9, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay,
It makes a lot of sense.
good. Good. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. Margot, when adding the numbers separately, do you break down an 11 to a 2 or leave it as an 11? Leave it as an 11. That's an excellent question. If you want to pop in your date of birth there, Margot, I'm happy to play with it if you want. And Deb's right, 11 is 11. 11 is always an 11. Okay, so where am I going from here? Just a second. Anybody else before I move on? Okay, just a sec, Margot. Oh, so you're born on the 11th day as well. Well, that's interesting all by itself. When we look at the day of birth brings in sort of a value-added punch, if you will. Some look at it as challenges. Some of it will also look at it as gifts, right? Again, it depends on where you're at and how you choose to respond to it. Let's take a look at it. So we've got 7, 11, 19, 62. 7 was 8, 9, 10, 19, 25, 26, 27. 10, 16, 18, 19, 20, 27. So that you could be a 27, 9, or we got 7, 11, 1, 9, 10, 16, 18, and 9. Either way, you're a 27, 9. It doesn't matter how you slice or dice it, you're a 27, 9. So you have the sub lessons to learn related to the number 2, which is harmony, partnership, being patient, diplomatic, playing nice in the sandbox, right? And then when we look at the 7, it's about learning how to trust in something bigger than yourself. It could also be, as I look at 27, 9, this could also be you becoming some kind of a practitioner of some kind in the healing arts, right? The 2 is about the partnership, the 7 is the spiritual side, learning how to communicate with spirit for the benefit of humanity, which is the 9. Okay, so if you think about moving into that kind of an area, I think you're really well suited for it, particularly the fact that you're born on the 11th day. I hope that you're doing something in that respect. I hope that you are working in groups somehow. If you're not in the Clarity Seekers community, why not? We need you in there, right? So that might be a good place for you. But yeah, so you're 27-9. Catherine.
Hey, Anne, I don't know. I'm having a hard time figuring out the second calculation.
Okay,
So
give it to me.
April 20, April 21st, 1966.
1966. Okay.
I wrote it down and no, I don't have it. Okay. So it comes down to the 4, the 3, and the 1966 comes to 22 is what I calculate.
Mm-hmm.
So I get 4, 3, 4. So
Either way, you're 29-11.
2911. Okay.
Right? Because if
I
you
don't
have the
know.
number straight across, it comes up to 29.
Okay.
Okay. If
Yeah.
you break it down, so that we've
Okay.
got April is a 4, the 21st is a
Mm-hmm.
3, because 2 and 1
Mm-hmm.
are 3. And then 1966 is a 22. It's a master number,
Mm-hmm.
leave it alone. So that's
Okay.
up. 22, 25, 20 still comes up as 29. So either way you slice or dice this, you are a 29-11.
2911. Okay.
Does that feel right for you? Can you identify with those? The sub lessons of the 2 and the 9?
The sub lesson of the 9 I'm not 100 on. I guess that's what is the 9?
So the 9 is having a love of humanity, a love of healing,
Okay. Yeah, okay.
having
Okay.
an interest in the environment and animals and animal welfare
Mm.
and
Okay, gotcha. Yes.
definitely that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, gotcha.
I did tag you in the group. I don't know if you saw it, but there's an event coming up on the 8th you need to be at.
The 8th,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a new teacher, Lisa. Lisa Buchanan is going to be teaching animal, not communication, but dealing with sensitivities, our own personal sensitivities, and that
Okay.
working with the animals.
Oh,
So
amazing.
yeah, so I
Okay.
tagged you in on that.
Okay, perfect.
All
I will
right.
be there.
Sounds
Thank you
good.
so much, Anne.
No worries. Okay. Anybody else before we kind of move on from that? Anybody need any clarifications? I haven't missed anybody's chat, I hope. I think I got them all. If I have, yell at me. Okay, so moving on a little bit, once you got the book, just a raise of hands, who dove in to find out what their partners were or their kids or their mothers or their whatever. Right? Yeah, that's where this is really cool. Inside the book, it's Marco's got a big thumbs up. Um, Wendy could. Yeah, this is where I find it so interesting, and this is where my vision is in this book, is that we can all see each other for who we are, meeting each other where we're at. Looking at that person that's a little odd, maybe a little different, not like you kind of thing. Let's take a look at their numbers, right? And see why is that? And then in the book, of course, we expanded into the relationship compatibility, the center of the book, or not, it's not center, I guess it's at the back of the book, but anyway, that's going to be a really good resource for you to leave out because if you're hiring somebody at work or you've got a new neighbor or your son brings home a new kid that you're kind of like, don't know about that, right? Take a look at their numbers and you'll understand far more about them. So that's where I'm really passionate about this work is that we can actually see each other through the numbers and what the heck we're here to learn. Rather than judging people for weird behavior or whatever, what are they all about and why are they different than me and why am I struggling with that? And if you're struggling with it, it's probably because you don't have the lesson yet either, right? So, Barbara has a question. I have a question about part 2. Where does the information come from about each of the numbers? I don't understand the question. Where are you, Barbara? There you are. Can you elaborate on that for me a bit? There you are. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. The lessons in the numbers. You've got something written about number 1,
Mm-hmm.
pages of it, and there's positive, negative traits.
Right.
Where does that information come from?
Well,
Is it from you?
Well, partly, but more so it's the research that Pythagoras did,
Okay.
2,500 years ago.
Okay.
And I love this question because what is really interesting about numerology on the whole is that when Pythagoras figured out that numbers hold themes and the predictable outcomes around them and such, and they have a vibration, if you will. When he figured that out and he started teaching a few people about it, he would not allow anybody to write down any notes. He didn't allow anybody to take notes. So that meant that everything people were being taught was shared through word of mouth. And it still works to this day, right? All of his teachings, it still applies today.
I
So
see.
yeah, so I just want to make sure everybody was kind of aware of, the positive and the negative side of each number because not always, and that's why I wrote the book the way I did. Like I'll tell you a story where I kind of rose and another one where I did a face plant about each number. Um, and I did that in that way because I wanted you to kind of remember those stupid stories and go, oh, right, I remember what that was all about, right? So rather than brain numbing you with just stats, that's kind of gets a little bit boring.
Hmm.
Hopefully that worked.
So would reading a little bit about Pythagoras, would that help me understand? Because I'm new to this numerology.
Yeah, yeah.
Would that help me understand
Probably not. I
about
think
it?
I
Okay.
think what you've got in the book is really all you're going to need, to be honest. You've got if you went in, did you download your resources from the website?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So there's a whole list of the numbers and the descriptions of the numbers, but there's also the um what other ones did I put in there? The sub-lesson descriptions is what I wanted to say. But you know what I would do, Barbara, is I would play with it. Like start writing your soul signature statement, because then you start connecting the dots to it. Take one of your kids, if you have kids, take your kids and break it down. Take a spouse or an ex-spouse or whatever. See if you can figure it out for them. And I think you're going to start figuring it out. For example, if I know somebody really well, right? Um, and I know what their numbers is. Like Deb, I was poking fun at her earlier. I've known Deb for quite a while, and she's a 4, right? So I know that 4s can be stubborn. I know that 4s like things, organized. They like to know what's going on. They're on time all the time. They would never be late for anything because the world will implode if they are, So that's a 4, right? So I know that, and I can learn more about the 4 because I remember, oh, Deb's a 4. Oh, I remember what she's like. That's what the 4 is all about.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you have a child or something and you can go, oh, that kid's a 3. And now now I understand more about the 3 because I understand my kid. So it's really
Thank you.
about, yeah, it's just really about kind of playing with it with different people that you know. And I think that you'll find that. The other thing you might want to do is work on celebrities. You know, if you're curious about somebody and why the heck they are the way they are, get their date of birth and play with it and just see if you can start connecting the dots to their personalities.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Donna, do master numbers mesh well? I'm a master 11, but so is my son. Double whammy. Yeah. Well, what you got going on there, Donna, is double sensitivity. You know, it really doesn't matter what he says or what you say, and it's going to be, you know, he's going to respond to everything very sensitively. Do you find that with him? Yeah. Yeah. So you've got, well, here, let's look at it. Hang on. I just so happen to have it here. So when we go in, um, so I've got on page 257 on the book, we've got the 11 plus the 11. So harmony. So the 2 and 2 of us with shared vision and deep emotional awareness. The challenge, though, is the emotional intensity that can spiral if the boundaries aren't clear. I think you've kind of struggled with that, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So creating a place of calm practices to stay centered amid the intensity. So what I would say to that is if you're living together, you guys need to really understand that you're sensitive to everything. You're sensitive to scent. You're sensitive to smell. You're sensitive to texture, to color, to sound, right? If you're somebody who's really sensitive to sound, then you need to be able to say, you know what? You just can't have that heavy metal music cranked up all the time because it just makes me really anxious. But at the same time, if you're the person playing the heavy metal music, he needs to feel okay with saying to you, "Hey, mom, like I just can't listen to that." So it really is kind of, you know, an understanding of what it is that makes, what do you need to do to meet in the middle? It's respect. It's a lot of respect, because again, you might see these hypersensitivities as barriers or faults or flaws or whatever, you know, but they really are your super gifts. They really are. But you're, and he, remember, he chose you, right? So that's, you can throw that back in his face every time you want. Remember, bud, you chose me. I'm special. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. Good. Deb, I know you kind of need to memorize characteristics of each number so that you can analyze someone without having to go look up each other. Yeah, that's the goal. Absolutely. But I think you need to do it through experience. You know, that's how I did it. I actually, the first book I ever had on numerology, and it's still a great one, is that one. You can heal the book. You can, Life You're Born to Live. It's a great resource. And, similar, you know, my book is similar in a sense, but I wrote it quite differently. But that is a really good book. But I can see all the pages there. That's all the people I know that I was interested in when I first found this book. When this is the book that launched me into my career as a numerologist. So I was able to learn a lot more. I could say, oh, you know, my business partner was a 3 and I'm a 7. Well, that explains why she comes up with all the creative ideas and I'm just the workhorse. You know, that's kind of how we rocked and rolled when we started out years ago. So, um, anybody else? Any questions related to maybe relationships or anything? No? Okay. All right. What about personal years? So there's a whole section in there about personal years. Were you guys able to kind of identify with that? You know, were you struggling with it or do you need some help with that to see where you're going? I can help you to see where you're heading if you like. Anybody in a 1 personal year? Yeah, Miriam, you are? Perfect. Okay. Anybody else? In 1 personal year? Okay. So here's the thing. Miriam, you and I we're both in a 1 personal year. I'll unmute you here so we can chat. And Jody's in a 1 personal year too. Perfect. Okay. So The theory in numerology is that our personal years begin in January, so January 1st, as does the universal year. To me, that's the only way it makes sense. I know astrologers believe it begins on our birthday, and I just can't even wrap my head around that. So for the 10th, for the all intents and purposes, this is going to suggest that we start January 1st. So January 1st, we wake up, we got this full cup of whatever our year is. In Miriam's case, in my case, and in Jody's case, we've got a full cup of one in January. So for every day that goes by, we're going to get a little bit of the influence of that one. And the one gives us the energy and the interest. You know, the year before was a little heavy. This is like go, 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 make it happen. Like, you know, and so we're expending a lot of energy. When we get to about the month of October, we start losing the energy and we start shifting into the next year's energy. So I don't know about you, Miriam or Jody, if you feel this, but I'm definitely starting to flatline a little bit. I'm starting to get a little tired, even though December is going to be a 4 personal month for me, which means all work, and it is. But I know I have to respect the fact that I cannot over, overdo it. I can't overwork myself, or, we have to stay in flow. So yes, we're in a year of one. Yes, we will be there until the 31st of December. But the influence of the two is saying, whoa, slow down. Okay, this isn't about winning a race here. This is about just getting things done and putting your best foot forward and planting some things. And I got the book done, stuff like that. But I have to respect the fact that I'm starting to get a little tired as I start shifting into the two. And it's done intentionally, right? Because in the year of one, they throw you really forward really fast. But in the year of two, they're going to roll you back a little bit. Okay. They're going to rein you in because you've got to rest and restore. Because when you go into your year of three, boom, it's forward again. So if we try to keep this momentum, and I'm an Aries, right? So I only have one speed and it's on. If we keep trying to maintain that momentum constantly, we throw ourselves completely out of alignment. Okay, so with grace, we have to accept that the cup's almost empty. Okay, oh, here comes the two energy. It's coming in. All right, January 1st, boom, full cup of two. Right? Miriam, how do you feel about that?
It's interesting. I can see it, but then I still have questions.
About
So
what it is you're supposed to be planting?
yes,
Okay. Yeah.
because I know things are going to start happening. I'm on the verge.
Yeah.
And I have a strong idea, but it's not cemented yet. Like I'm waiting for that phone call and I know where it's coming from.
Okay. Well, that's a really good point you make, because remember, it's been a very interesting, let's call it interesting, shall we? Rather than shit show, let's call it interesting. Um, 2025 has been this blanket of nine energy around all of us, regardless of where we are. I mean, Jody and Miriam and myself, we're on a year of one, but the contradiction is that influence of the nines coming from 2025 is like our blanket influence, and it's causing us to feel like we have to end something and tidy stuff up before we can actually move forward. So I don't know about you guys, but I sure released a lot of junk in the trunk this year, even though it was a one personal year. In order for me to become the new version of me, I had to release a bunch of junk in the trunk.
Mhm.
Right? So, that being said, the nine universal year is starting to fade, just like our personal years are starting to fade. The nine energy is going away, and we're all starting to tap into the energy of the one for 2026, because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 equals 10, and 1 and 0 equal 1. So I could go on a different tangent on that. But anyway, so all of us, regardless of where we are on our cycle, we're all going to have that influence of the one. So it doesn't surprise me, Miriam, that you're kind of like, I'm on the precipice of something coming, something new is coming. And it's kind of got your whetting your appetite and curiosity and such. And I feel the same way. I feel like next year is going to be ridiculously busy, but in a different way. Because when we move into the two, it's no longer going to be all about us being number one. It's not going to be about us being the feature. It's going to be ourselves in 2026 and one other person. So next year's going to be about developing partnerships, relationships to get the job done.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So the 2 year self-care year. Yeah, sign me up for that. That'd be cool. More massages. So, right. Yeah. Anybody else need some clarification on their personal year where they're at? Patsy! You go, girl.
Hi, Ian. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you.
Good, good, good. Um, okay, so I am either a 2810 or a 10-1, whatever
Okay.
I decide to be for that day, I guess. And I am headed into a 5 year
Mm-hmm.
personal year,
Yep.
I think, if I did the math right.
Yep.
Um, but I foresee a lot of changes
Mm.
coming next year
Mm-hmm.
for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just it scares the shit out of me, but um, I don't know where to go with that. Like
Okay.
relationships as far as my personal relationship with my husband goes, and the one with my boss, and so why isn't a two factored in there more?
Well, I mean, it could be in your essence, right? I haven't looked at your essence, but it could definitely be in there. But remember, the five is about change. The five brings in that curiosity, and it does bring in a little bit of restlessness. It causes us to feel like, something new is coming. I got to be ready for it. It's really good for travel, expansion. I didn't see that coming kind of moments. How you're going to go through that five personal year will be determined by whatever your essence is, right? And note here.
uh, I don't know what my essence is.
Okay.
Is that my soul
I'll look. You know
urge?
what? I'm gonna look it up afterwards. I'll send it to you.
Okay. I
Um,
know what my soul urge is. Is that the same thing or is that
no,
different? Okay.
no. Your essence is something that's cyclical, and I get a sense that there's either a long-term cycle, like a pinnacle or a life path period, that might be influencing your feeling like it's got to be about relationships, but also like I don't know. Um, do you know if Mark passed in a 5 year?
I think it was a 9 year.
Okay, interesting. Because there could be a little bit of trauma associated with that, the unexpected, right?
Mm.
That's a possibility that you might be tapping into that somewhat. But don't be afraid of the five. The five will bring in the unexpected. What I will say to the five is that be a little bit more proactive rather than reactive. So that means make sure your fire extinguishers are topped up. Make sure you've got a decent first aid kit in your home and in your car. Make sure that there's salt or sand or something down on the pavement when it's icy. Don't drive when it's crappy, things like that. So I'm not saying, oh, look for, terrible things, but I am saying be a little bit more proactive because the five does bring in the change and the unexpected. Now that can bring in a windfall too. Like it can bring in a huge expansion. It could be somebody coming to you saying, "Hey, Patsy, we love your 9D breath work. We'd like to offer you a space. Come and work with us." Like there's some really good things about it.
All right.
Um,
Appreciate it.
but I'll have a look at it and I will reach out.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't be afraid. Don't be
I know.
afraid. It's fives are good. Fives are really good.
Okay.
Um, how do you calculate the personal year? Okay. My apologies, still waiting for the book to arrive. No problem. So the personal year is super easy to calculate. You're going to take your month of birth, reduce that to a single digit. You're going to unmute you there, Gail, so in case you've got questions. You're going to take your month of birth, reduce that to a single digit. Take your day of birth, reduce that to a single digit. And then you're going to take the universal year. So in this case, we are in 2025. We add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, and it comes to 9. So add your month to your day to the number 9, and that will tell you what personal year you're in this year.
So I'm in a 6 year right now.
Okay. So
Three,
this
three
past
plus
year,
six.
then, the sixth personal year for you likely had a lot of focus on family stuff. Maybe some, people might say it's family focus. I prefer to call it family drama because that's usually what it is. And when I say family drama, it can be within your workplace, it can be in your own personal home, it can be related to your extended family. Maybe you've got somebody who's leaning on you a little bit more than what you typically ordinarily would be, there for. Um, the six is all about responsibility. And so it pushes your buttons hardcore to to be more, to do more, to the need for perfectionism raises its ugly head in a personal year of 6. So right now, as you start shifting into your 7 personal year, you might be inclined to go, whoa, everybody, just back off, right? I am sick and tired of being there for all of you, for my workplace, for my home place, for just everybody. I'm just a little tired of being there for everybody. I'm kind of going into my cave right now. So that's where you're shifting. And you probably are feeling less enamored about hanging out with a bunch of people right now than what you were, right? Because you're going in your cave and you're trying to figure shit out, right? This is the year of 6s or 7 is when you get introspective and reflective and you start looking over the last 6 years and you ask yourself, okay, am I going in the right direction? Do I need to kind of reassess? Do I need to rethink this? Do I need to rework this in some way? What is it that I don't like? Do I need to reconsider, the people I'm hanging out with, or where I live, or the kind of work that I do, or habits that I have that I don't like? It's a real life review, if you will, and it's very spiritual. It's when you're going to want to hang out with people who are more in alignment with who you are and the way that you think.
And that's kind of where my head is right now. So I can already tell I'm moving into 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
cool.
what's kind of exciting about that though, when you look at it, you're going into a 7 personal year, which is all the things we just talked about, but you're also going into it in a 1 universal year. Okay.
Mm.
So this might be you discovering Tai Chi, or wow, all of a sudden I'm super interested in tarot all of a sudden. I don't know where that came from. Or, I want to start going to church or whatever. The
Mhm.
newness is there, and the newness is a little bit of a layer to your 7 personal year. So it would
Cool.
not surprise me if you developed a bunch of new interests related to your spirituality.
Yeah. Well, I'm just starting a new business with biofield tuning. So,
Oh, wow.
which is very much about using your intuition along with the, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
love
So the
that.
timing of that is very interesting with the universal year and
So
yeah.
it's biofield tuning?
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Is that something you can do long distance, or does it have to be? Oh, yeah.
Yes. I will gift you a session if you're interested.
I'm absolutely, well, you know what? I'm interested in that. Thank you. I am definitely interested in that, but I'm also interested in you having coming to talk to the group about
Yes.
it. Yeah, so I'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Anybody else want to explore where they're at in their personal year? Where you've been, where you going? All that kind of good stuff. Um, yeah. So, oh, I forgot to mention. So, next week, um, we are doing the 6 Psychics Under One Roof event. And if you don't already have your ticket, you can certainly get your ticket still. It's online on Zoom, same time as this was. So it's noon Eastern. But I'm going to be, at the end of this session, I'm going to be gifting 2 tickets. And if you already have a ticket, you can give it to somebody else if you want to, or you can throw it back in the pot and we can choose somebody else, whatever you want to do. But I am going to be giving away 2 free tickets today, this afternoon. But in that, there's 6 of us who will be talking about what the heck is 2026 going to be about. And you've seen all the memes going around about, don't let the door kick you on the way out, 2025. But I think we're all kind of like done with 2025. Let's move forward, shall we? Right? So we've got to make sure that we are really focusing on the good stuff that happened in 2025. I could be swallowed up and thrown back into the ocean if I focused on the crap that I went through this year. But I had some really good highlights too. So that's where I'm choosing to place my focus, because anywhere we give our energy, attention, and focus to is going to get bigger, right? All right. So we are all coming out of this 9 energy. Anybody want to share anything about what they were challenged to release and let go of, that maybe you actually made it happen? I'm sure you guys got some stories. I know you do. Don't be shy. It's only going on YouTube after. Um, all right, I'll go. Uh, so when and some of you already heard this, but many of you haven't. But when I first moved down here to the edge of the earth, as I call it. I was pretty lonely. I had my business in the city and I had had it for years, and I kind of blew it up to move out here to be with my now husband. And it was really difficult when I first got here because, when I lived in town, I knew everybody and I had a circle of friends and whatnot, and I was kind of lonely. And I was trying, I just was very lonely. Anyways, about 3 years after we moved in, we had a couple on our road who um, embraced us and sort of extended the olive branch to us, and we became, hard, fast friends. And it was great. It was really good. But I always kind of felt like I had to sort of hide what I do from them because this is just not their thing, right? It's just not their thing, and I respect that, and they respect that this is what I do is not their thing either, right? So we had this common respect, but I realized the last 10 years, I've kind of kept myself small. And the more people I talk to this year, the more people I realize have gone through this where the relationship kind of blew up in your face. And I won't go into all the details how that all happened, but the fact is the relationship blew up. And this is the second time that I can remember under the influence of a nine where a relationship blew up in my face because I was hanging on. I was hanging on because this is what I knew and it was safe and it was predictable and I didn't know what it would be like to be kind of cast aside as a leper in the community kind of thing. But anyways, I held on really tight. And I did that. I can't remember what year it was, but I was in a nine personal year a while back, a couple of cycles back. And same thing. I was hanging out with people because I wanted to fit in. These people were coaches of a team that my son was on. And it was kind of cool to be, taken in under the wing of the coach. So we hung out with them quite a bit. But it was terrible. I mean, all we did was sit around and bash the parents and bash the athletes, and it was just like it wasn't who I was, and I knew it, but I desperately needed to fit in. So, Spirit was kind of like, do 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 do. You gonna do this or am I? Right. Oh, you're not gonna do. Okay, I'll do it for you. Right. Everything blew up really ugly. It was horrible. It ended very, very badly, but it was the best thing that ever happened. And Spirit said, you are not taking this into the one vibration. You can't take this with you. This is going to hold you back. And this is exactly why it happened to me again this time around. I'm a lifer, man. You become my friend. I'm going to hang on to you forever. You can do whatever you want to me. I'm going to hang on to you forever until Spirit goes, nah, it's probably not a good match. And they blow it up. So, and I'm only sharing this to give you an idea as to what you guys might have been going through this year. Have you guys had really solid friendships or relationships that all of a sudden went a little sideways? And it's kind of like maybe you're hurting, feeling kind of lonely, a little confused, rejected, betrayal. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that you go through. But I'm telling you, it's because you are escalating, you are rising, your energy is rising, and we are all ascending. You would not be here in this group if you weren't meant to ascend. All of us in this group are energetically sensitive souls, or you wouldn't be here. The ones who are going to watch this after the fact, they are energetically sensitive souls. My community, my Clarity Seekers community, energetically sensitive souls. So we are all rising at different rates, but we are rising, and sometimes that means hauling the onion layers off of us to expose ourselves to be kind of vulnerable, right? That's my whole book was all about. I mean, I think you can agree I was pretty vulnerable in there. I don't even know if my brother's still talking to me. I haven't heard since he read the book. But anyway, is what it is. Can anybody speak to that? Have you guys gone through? Yeah, Miriam.
I just had a situation where people that were very, very close to me really hurt my feelings. And I was really annoyed. But what I realized is I could set up boundaries.
Yeah, love that.
It's totally changed my outlook. I
Yeah,
can still be in the sandbox, but I'm
yeah.
not giving them any more of my energy.
Good for you. Oh, I love that. That's amazing. Awesome. Big hug for that. High five. Yeah. Boundaries are kind of, wow. Anybody got an eight energy that's kind of floating around in your soul signature? Because you guys are the ones that are learning the boundaries. And I know with my son, my youngest son, we had a little bit of a tete-a-tete here a few years ago, and I realized that I had never really set any boundaries with him. And he was kind of pushing my last button, and I kept asking him to back off, and he wouldn't. And finally, I hung up on him. I've never done that before. But the next morning, he called me and apologized, and we were able to discuss it to say, you know what, Mom, you showed me that it was safe. You know, you'd set a boundary with me, and I can set a boundary with you, and we're still going to love each other at the end, right? And sometimes it gets kind of scary at times, but it's very, very necessary. And you know, one of the things I've learned through the whole boundary thing is I've got a big 8 lesson on my chart, is that the eight, once when we struggle with boundaries, the number one reason why we struggle with boundaries is because we don't feel worthy of the respect necessary to uphold the boundary. So I can set a boundary with you, like Mary Kate, I can set a boundary with you and say, you know, this is, and you blow through the boundary. If I let you do that, then I don't respect myself enough to hold you accountable. So it starts there. You have to believe that you're worth it, right? So that's a huge shift for you, Miriam. That's awesome that you finally said, no, you know, I deserve better than that. Well, if you deserve better than that, you have to ask for better. You have to demand better because nobody's going to give it to you, right? So good for you. That's amazing. Anybody else? What's your biggest? I'd love to hear what's the biggest lesson you've learned this year? I'd love to hear. What's the biggest lesson you've learned this year? I know there's many. Anybody got anything? Well, come on. We're almost into December. Tomorrow is December 1st. Tell me something you learned this year. That you're going to be okay. I love that. That's awesome, Barbara, that you're going to be okay. Perfect. That you're believing in yourself, that you're going to be okay. Yeah, because you get to choose, right? Amazing. Anybody else? Awesome. um, that you will survive without all the deadwood that's been around you for so long as they start kind of falling away and spirit, you know, blows them up and makes them go away. Sometimes that's a good lesson too. For me, it was putting myself out openly that I wrote a book, that I published a book, and I put it on my personal page on Facebook. That was big for me to do that. It was really, really big for me to do that. And it was never about selling the book. It was about me claiming me, owning who I am. So Gail says that I need structure to move forward. Works with my life path number. Awesome. Love that. Amazing. That's a really big one too, you know. People who have a 4, if you have a 4 somewhere in your, like for example, 14-5 or 24-6 or whatever, 34-7, that force is a clue that says, I have to have a plan because if I don't, I spiral around the drain and I have difficulty. Um, I want to talk to you about that, Gail. Is that kind of how you, because you know, here you are going into this new business.
Yeah, I'm a 4. My life path number is a 4.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I retired from the work that I had been doing for like over 25 years and quickly realized, okay, I can't sit and do nothing. I'm way too young. I will wilt and die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So then I went looking for what is it that I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I would go in spurts when I was on a course. I was focused and then the minute I'd get off the course, if I didn't have a structure in my day, even as simple as sticking to a time to get up,
oh yes,
exercise, like diet, everything just fell apart. And then I would lose my motivation completely.
Yeah.
I would just lose my energy. And so then I went back and I looked at the first report we ever did together, Anne.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, okay, I'm ignoring who I am.
Right.
And what I need as a foundation
Yeah.
to be everything I want to be.
Well, if you think about the number 4, the 4 has 4 posts, right? 4 posts into the ground. They don't have 3, they got 4, right? And it's like, you guys have to have a plan. I always tell people who are 4s, if you're planning on retiring on Friday, you better know what you're doing on Monday, because otherwise you're going to crash and burn. Fours need to know what's going on. If you're a four life path like Gail is, great. If you're you've got a sub lesson 41-5 or 42-6 or 24, it doesn't matter. Remember that the number that sits closest to that slash before it becomes that reduced number, that's the one that's in your face more so. So example of 14-5, 1-4-5. The four is the bigger in your face kind of a sub lesson than the one is. They're both important, but the four is the one that's like, and I always say 14-5 is a great example because the five um, relates to I want my freedom, and the four says, yeah, but you can't have it. The five's the gas, the four is the brakes. The five's the gas, the four is the brakes, right? So five says, I want to spend some money. Four says, no, you better think about that. Better save your money. Oh, I want to take the day off. No, you better work, So, but the four is its structure. So I'm glad that you figured that out, Gail. That's awesome because that's
Yeah.
really, really, really
Yeah, I
important.
stopped letting myself off the hook.
Yeah, good. Holding yourself accountable. I love it.
Yeah.
And you have to, because when you become your own boss, man, like nobody prepares you for that. I don't care how many manuals you
Yeah.
read, right? You still have to get up in the morning and have a shower, right? Yeah. Although I do love my jammy days, I can't lie. Let's see what else we got. Margot, what an amazing supportive group of friends I have. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. That's amazing. And you know what? That's so good. I love that you said that because Donna and Patsy and myself, and I don't know anybody else in the group. We're all part of a group called the Unicorn Sisterhood, and it's an online group. And man, like I feel so blessed to be in there. I feel so supported as my community around me here. These friends I had kind of crumbled around me. They were there to kind of go, oh yeah, but we're over here, right? Hey, whoa, there's my tribe. There's my peeps. Not to mention my Clarity Seekers community that helps too. But it's amazing. Like they've created a really great space. So if you need any kind of support like that, it's a really worthwhile group to look into. Patsy, I am enough. You are. Damn straight, girlfriend. You are enough. More than that. Um, Catherine, things are not happening to me, they're happening for me. Yes. Learning to surrender and acceptance. Oof, big seven lesson there. Love that. Donna, finally following interests that I have been drawn to since youth but ignored, and that is okay, even if others don't understand. Wow. You know what? I was sitting watching TV last night with my husband, and I don't know what it was we were watching. I never remember the movies because by that point I'm asleep. But I do remember sitting there saying to him, I have to get a hobby. I love what I do. I do what I love and I love what I do and I can do it 24 hours a day and then some. 8 days a week I could, but I don't have balance. So I love that you said that because it's like, okay, Ann, you know, go do something else for a little while. So good. Patsy says that my time, energy, and presence are valuable currencies to add to the above. Beautifully said. That's amazing. Donna says, boundaries and learning to say no. A big one this year, right? Isn't that great? Um, okay, maybe you should give knitting another shot. Okay, Deb Hall. Hell no. All I can do, she knows it well. My God, when my daughter-in-law was pregnant with my grandson, Deb Hall became my knitting coach from Montana. And she was the most patient person. You should see the stuff that she knits. She's like insane, right? It's like she's a sculptor. Such a great choice of colors and textures and patterns and all. All I can do is go boo 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 boo. Or one of those little corking wheels where you just kind of go round and round in circles and out pops a hat. There you go. That's it. Right. So no, thanks for asking. Not happening. So, all right. Is it time for a draw? Shall we go for the draw? All right. Okay. Let's see. Isn't that interesting? Plus me, we have 11 people here. Okay. Catherine, can you give me a number between 1 and 11? Oops, I could unmute you, couldn't I?
I went with 11.
Of course you
Since I'm
did.
at 11.
All right. Wendy, you just won a ticket to the event next week. So, just a second. All right. Oops, I need you on mute there for a second. All right.
Thank you.
That's
That's
awesome.
wonderful.
I'm glad. So you don't have a ticket already?
I don't, but you said, is it only one ticket?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one ticket.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Good.
so
Yay, thank you.
you're so welcome. What is your last name, Wendy?
Yaskowitz. You want me to spell it?
Yep.
Y
Yeah.
S Kowitz.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. I'll send you an email with all the information and whatnot. In the meantime, if you want to
Thank
go to
you. I
my
can't
website, just AnnPerryNumerologist.com, you'll see up at the top, clear, no, what's it called? Six Psychics Under One Roof. It's our sixth time doing this. And it's almost like a relay team because we have six psychics all under one roof, all at the same time. We all have 10 minutes to tell what's happening in 2026. It's a lot of fun. So, but I'll send you the information. All right. I look
Thank you. I'm
forward to
very
seeing you.
excited.
Awesome. Okay. Patsy. Excuse me.
Hi.
Hi. Pick a number between mm, 2 and 7.
4.
4? Okay. Donna Brooke. I know she's already got a ticket. Oh, you don't?
No, I don't. I can't be there. You have to give it to someone else.
No, I don't. You can have the recording if you want, or
Oh,
it's up to you.
okay.
You can take the ticket, or you can toss it in the pile, whatever you want.
So the ticket gives me access to the recording.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Yep.
do that then, and then I don't have to miss it. That's
There you
awesome.
go.
Thank you.
No. Oh, that's great. Okay. Perfect. Thanks, Patsy.
No problem.
Um, okay, so anybody have any questions at all before we wrap this up today? It's been so much fun hanging out with you. I do need a show of hands. Is this something that you'd like to do in the future? Would you like to come and play again? Yeah? Okay. So if you've downloaded your things off of the website, you're on a mailing list. And so when I do run these, because I do think I'm going to run them every couple of months just to keep on keep keep tabs on you guys and see if you got any questions. And new people will come in, obviously. But I want everybody to get on that mailing list. So if you haven't already downloaded the resources, make sure that you get on that mailing list. And we'll do something in the new year. Maybe we'll theme it up or something and have some fun with it. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, we will do it again. So, but in the meantime, I just want you guys to know, oh my God, like just being here, just supporting me and my work and being able to get this book out there. You helped so much, with your reviews and just purchasing the book and sharing it with others and sharing your comments on Facebook and whatnot. Man, I can't even be more grateful. I really can't. That's all I wanted for this book was to make sure that people knew about it. That's it. That's all that matters. Because I think it's so helpful if you get into the work, you know. But so grateful for that. And if you want to hang out again next week, as I say, check it out. We've got Six Psychics Under One Roof happening Sunday, December 7th. We've got Laura Warren, who's a local medium in Halifax. We've got Sherry Donovan. It's her first time with us. We've got Coralie Fox. We have Marilyn Young from Calgary. We have Maureen Webb is from Arizona, and myself, all six of us under one roof, all kind of giving you a good idea as to what the heck is happening in 2026. So you get the chance to kind of like this format, you'll have the chance to ask some questions as well. And after the event, there's also a link you'll be able to go to where a lot of the mediums are offering discounts and stuff. So it gives you some value added bonuses there as well. So, all right. Well, thank you again. Really, really appreciate it. It was so much fun hanging out with you guys. So interesting. We had 11. Wow. So cool. So looking forward to seeing you at the next event. Love you guys. Bye for now.